Ladies and gentlemen, this is UX and this is the post-war occupation of Austria. History Matters by the channel History Matters. Why does it say History Matters like that? Yeah, I don't know, it's weird. I've never seen History Matters in a title, but okay. So yeah, another interesting topic. Everybody talks about what happened after the World War II to Germany and things like that, right? Austria, I guess nobody thinks like that. But if I were to guess, as far as all the war history I know, Austria obviously being the neighbor country of Germany and how Hitler basically took it over, right? Too many concentration camps, too many people killed there. I guess it would have happened the same thing that happened to Germany, right? People basically, occupied Austria. Multiple countries occupied Austria, right? Like how it happened with Germany. But I guess it wouldn't be like, like taking the loser's place or something like that, like how it happened to Germany. It would be more like, I guess liberating or something. Because I'm pretty sure Austria was also a victim of the war, right? Yeah. So I guess it would be like, liberating the country, but it would have the same treatment as Germany, where multiple powers took the pieces of Austria, I guess, and occupied it. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, there's going to be much more detail to it. History Matters is a great channel. I like reacting to this channel. They basically cover a, pretty detailed topic in short time, like 4 minutes, like here. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Let's watch it. Remember, we'll feel like Marickson. Don't forget to subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more. Check out the link in the description. There you'll find more videos like this. I have way too many videos on my channel. That's why I'm trying to create another channel where I can split up my content, like history, science in one side, games, general content in other. But right now, all is in one place. So, just search with my name, CGDX, and you'll come up on a video, I guess. That's why sometimes I re-upload video. People are like, why are you re-uploading? Because most of you don't even know about it. There are way too many videos on my channel. So yeah, let's watch it.
1945, and Germany has lost World War II. With them lost the Austrians, having found themselves thoroughly Anschlussed in 1938. Austria was occupied by Allied forces much in the same way that Germany was. The Soviet Union was placed in control of this territory, and the United States, Britain and France getting the rest. The Allies had declared Austria to be the first victim of Nazi aggression, and thus they technically weren't occupied but were liberated. From a social standpoint, post-war Austria was in a strange place. Whilst the referendum to join Germany in 1938 wasn't exactly a fair one, many in Austria did wish to remain a part of Germany and were still sympathetic to National Socialism. In the Soviet occupation zone, life for Austrians was miserable, and Soviet soldiers were responsible for about 90% of all crime in Austria in the years following the war. Furthermore, the USSR also...
Is there any case, whether in Germany or Austria, where Soviet side anyone was happy?
Relocated much of Austria's wealth away from the country by moving factories and seizing Austria's oil. In the Western occupation zones, they were better.
Wait a minute. Oh, there we go.
And seizing Austria's oil. In the Western occupation zones, things were better. They generally ruled with a light touch, and when a bad winter wrecked harvest and the Austrian economy crashed, they gave economic aid. However, this wasn't exactly a wholly benevolent gesture. The Cold War was just beginning, and so the Western Allies were seeking to win over the Austrians to their way of life and deprive the Soviets of what would likely become another puppet state. This fear of communism spreading was important when deciding the fate of the former Austrian province of South Tyrol.
Yeah, okay. So basically, Soviets took their old approach of basically liberating countries. So they just, helped themselves with the stuff, right? They just took whatever they can. While, the opposing side like, oh, communism scary. See how good we are. Basically, they was trying to do that.
Austrians and the majority of the people living in South Tyrol were hoping that the two would be reunited as they were before World War I. The British and Americans were deeply concerned that taking too much territory away from Italy would increase the popularity of the Communist Party there, and so South Tyrol remained a part of Italy. The Soviets had at first placed a socialist, Karl Renner, in charge of Austria. When the nation went to the polls in late 1945, the Conservatives under Leopold Weigel won. Weigel decided to present a united Austrian front to the occupiers and invited the Socialist Party to form a unified government with Adolf Scherf as Vice-Chancellor. Austrian leaders now denounced the notion that Austrians were somehow German, despite the fact that Renner had been very pro-Anschluss before. In fact, the notion of Austrians not being Germans led to many Germans being kicked out of...
Anyway, you're not a fan of German? But what about these photos? You're having selfie with Hitler. No. That's just Photoshop.
The country, whereas many non-German Germans, like those who lived in the Sudetenland, were allowed to move to Austria. Austria also went through the process of denazification, which saw 500,000 of Austria's former Nazi Party members placed onto a national register. In 1948, the process of denazification was ended when the majority of...
National register, so I guess that's the same as, what is that, sex offender registry or whatever, nowadays have. right? So Nazis were sex offenders of war of that time, I guess. Everybody's just like, I'm putting you on register, I'm watching you. When you go to any house, I guess you have to tell your neighbor that you were once a Nazi.
Of low-ranking party members were given amnesty. The amnesty was largely a political move, since those 500,000 former Nazis made up a large voting bloc and both main parties wanted their votes in the future. That said, even with amnesty, most former Nazis were forbidden from holding political office. By 1949, the Austrian government wanted their occupation to come to an end. This didn't happen because Cold War. The problem with pulling out of Austria was that there was a potential for them to fall into either the Soviet or American alliances. Austria was itself a Western democratic nation, but one that was all too aware of the fact that communist Yugoslavia, Hungary and Czechoslovakia lay on its borders. It was Austria's position between the two ideological blocs that forced its government to be a perpetual coalition of the conservative Austrian People's Party and the Social Democratic Party. Internal party squabbling ended up getting rid of Feigl, and he was succeeded by Julius Raab, who made sure to improve relations with the USSR. Raab began talks
Yeah, there's nothing new there, right? A struggle between two people, right? Sometimes one party wins, sometimes other. The newer one, I guess, try to make, like, yeah, let's make USSR our friend. Yeah, as far as Nazi, like, you're not allowed to hold office. Why? Because we don't want you to create that kind of hairstyle and start screaming in front of podium.
Concerning Austria's independence with the Soviet Foreign Minister Vyacheslav Molotov and its new leader Nikita Khrushchev. In 1955, the State Treaty was signed, and it was agreed.
Wait a minute, Khrushchev, so I guess Stalin was dead around this time, obviously. So how the fuck Molotov survived? How the fuck Molotov survived Stalin? I guess Molotov was really important figure, right? That's how he survived Stalin's, I guess, paintbrush or something, right? Stalin was so, effed up for everybody around him that every time he just said, give me my paintbrush, everybody starts to sweat. Like, oh, hell no. But apparently Molotov survived.
That in return for the withdrawal of Soviet and Western forces, Austria would ban all fascist parties and was forbidden, under any and all circumstances, to ever, literally ever, unite with Germany. It was also tacitly agreed that Austria would become a neutral, non-aligned nation. This set the stage for Austria's place in the Cold War and the modern era. It would be a nation whose past was to largely be ignored for the meantime, and whose newfound neutrality would soon go on to shape its national identity. Perhaps the most important legacy of the decade after the Second World War was that Austrians would be Austrian. I hope you enjoyed this episode and thank you for watching, and a special thanks to James Bisonet, Azarka Flash, Henry Rabung, Winston...
Yeah, okay. So that means that KTMs are Austrian, not German. Let's make that completely clear. So yeah. Wait a minute, so even today that kind of carries over? Like Austria is not allowed to join in with Germany even today? I don't know, there would be something. Yeah. Probably that was the post-war occupation of Austria. I kind of figured that, right? Start of the video, like how it's going to be occupied the same way as Germany, but it'll be like, we're liberating you if anything. But yeah, it makes sense since it's a neighboring country, why not? Alright people, if you like my reaction, do like, subscribe, check out the reaction, there's a link in the description, check the cards, and yeah, I'll see you next time.